Hey guys, and welcome back to Sonic Unleashed. You join Sonic and Tails en route to Spagonia, which is basically a mix of, I think, Italy and Spain. Don't quote me on that. But first we have to get through the Tornado Defense minigame. I call it a minigame because it sure as shit isn't as good as the one in SA1, I'll tell you that much.
Well, it actually impresses me how they managed to make Sky Chase worse. I really didn't like that in SA1 because of just how it goes on and you're not really doing much. But this is literally just a few minutes straight of QuickTime events. There's nothing more to it.
Man, the guy who implemented the QuickTime events to begin with must have been thrilled.
Yeah, does he get paid by the button press or some shit?
He must do, judging by how many we have to do in this friggin' thing. And it's not the only part of the game where you do this. It comes up towards the end as well.
Thankfully, it's only 2. Given how much travelling we have around, they could have been dicks with this.
Yeah, I remember people worrying that they'd have to do this every time they travelled to a continent and whatnot. You know, like in Epic Mickey, Rishi, when you go back and forth, between areas and you have to go through the same 2D platforming bit over and over again.
Tom, please do not give me those flashbacks. I do not need those flashbacks.
Epic Mickey playthrough fucking when?
Never.
Well,
Never, ever.
I'll hold you to that, I suppose. I'll give this to the Tornado Defense thing. Number 1, really nice music. Number 2, great view. Just look at those seas below. You know, and all the little islands and the and the missiles flying towards us, threatening to shoot us down. Shoot us down in a ball of flames. That's delightful as well.
Yeah, look at that absolutely static water.
Thanks, Flame. Appreciate that.
I've ruined that for you.
I was just done complimenting the thing. Okay, I'll compliment the clouds, I guess. They're pretty white.
I don't know, they look a little bit grey to them, it might rain soon.
Well, I mean, that's fine, because obviously, as we're progressing, we are getting closer and closer to whatever is causing all of this, which means, obviously, they should get darker, because it's getting more foreboding.
Ah, I see. Flame, explain to me how the energy system works, because I never really got it through, my first run-through of Unleashed.
I don't get it, I just press the buttons here. Seriously, that is all I've ever known here.
Does it affect how fast you can fire? What's going on here? I know shield is basically your life, and oh my god, I just noticed you had 99 lives. What is wrong with you, you sick freak?
This just happens. This is one of the games where they still have the 100 rings for a life thing, and they give you a lot of rings in this game. A lot of the day levels, you'll be touching 900 rings.
Jeez. Anyway, I think I can answer the energy question. Maybe not entirely well, but the way that it seems to work to me is it's to prevent you from just spamming buttons.
Okay.
They want you to be more precise in what you're pressing, because if you kind of press a whole bunch of buttons very quickly after each other, then the energy quickly drops down. And it's basically to stop spamming, which you could very easily do. Yeah, that is pretty much it. Obviously, when you are in these particular bits, it's asking you to do quite a few shots one after the other, so it's trying to push you and challenge you.
Fair enough.
But the rest of the time, yeah, it's just that whole don't spam.
The only thing I find a little bit dickish about this section is during this boss fight, when something will come from off screen, and man, I've tried to 100% this multiple times, and there will always be one right at the fucking end that gives me less than half a second to react.
Well, I think the most dickish part is how he's got the legendary birds locked up in there. That's kind of fucked.
Don't use my favourite Pokemon movie. Don't use it in a reference in a fucking YouTube Sonic commentary.
Hey, that's my favourite film ever, so I'm not exactly...
Ever? You sad fuck.
Yeah, I know, I don't deny this, but I will say, from a gameplay perspective, the bits that get annoying when there's them ones that are hit 5 times while there's still other ones aiming at you. It's tearing your eyes between 2 parts of the screen.
Yeah, fair enough.
With regards to the not spamming too much, I did notice recording this that you break your combo if you overhit, which it just reminds me back to when I used to play a lot of Guitar Hero Rock Band, how many full combos I ruined by overstrumming at the end, like a complete dickwad.
Not quite the egg carrier, but you work with what you've got.
Yeah, we don't get to land on this one. We don't get to see Tails missing the one most important function of a plane.
Ah, yes, the landing gear.
No, it just goes up and we wait till we run out of fuel.
Finally, the Sonic and Mario crossover we've all been waiting for. It's because it's Italy. Thank you, good night.
Well, to be fair, it's a little more than just Italy. It's basically all of Europe smushed into one city.
Jesus.
It kinda is. It's like Italy, but they put Big Ben in there for some reason.
Yeah, why not, just put it in there.
Yeah, you've got a bit of Italy, you've got a bit of Spain, you've got a bit of the UK, you've got a bit of France. You've got a bit of every little bit of Europe, which I do find to be really quite cool.
I find it to be quite ironic in hindsight because we're not part of the EU anymore.
Yeah, no.
At the time we are doing this commentary, very specifically, we have not invoked Article 50 yet. Therefore, we have not left the EU yet. However, by the time the commentary comes out, we might have invoked Article 50, and that will make me feel sad. But anyway, moving away from politics.
No, I just want to make one last joke. They need to re-release Unleashed down the line and call it Sonic Unleashed Brexit Edition.
Yeah, no, like you see, like the work in progress of like they're just taking all the like English assets away. Like you see, like the Big Bang XP just flying off.
Oh, like Professor Pickle just fades away. Like, oh my god. Oh man, there's a lot of antics in this particular scene. You've got Chip literally dying right here. Check this shit out. He's a ghost now.
This I remember being the one scene in particular. I remember a lot of people throwing a fuss about, and like this to me is the pinnacle of why I like Chip. It's just like he makes no sense in context. Like they're having a serious conversation, and this guy's just like turning into fucking Casper over there. But like that's what I like about Chip.
Fair enough. Professor Pickle's assistant was also voiced by Jason Griffith. By the way, it's pretty fucking obvious.
Yeah, and it is basically his same voice.
Yeah.
Like, at least Jet, as annoying as Jet gets, at least he put on the proper squeaky shit, but, like, no, this is just Sonic again.
We have to trigger something, I believe. Or do we? Does that come later?
What we're doing right now is finding out where we're meant to go.
Okay. There's an RPG aspect to Sonic Unleashed.
Yeah, not quite. Although, compared to the Wii version, where all of these are, like, text boxes, and it's like the Sonic Unleashed visual novel, like, it's a bit of a step up in production value, I guess.
A bit?
Yeah.
It's nice to have a hub world just to walk about in between levels. I know there's like a sizable portion out there, including you, Flame, I guess, who don't like hub worlds, but I do. Okay, it's a 3D game. I would like to be able to run about in 3D and stretch my legs, for lack of a better term.
Yes, I also like to stretch my legs sat on my chair in front of the TV. That's all the leg stretching I do.
You are going the right way for a smack bomb and a demotion, young man.
But I have to say, I am on the side of having hub worlds, especially when they're in this form, because they are nice and contained, so you can explore them all quite easily, and that's quite fun. And also you can have a little bit of a chat, you don't have to do a whole lot. They don't suffer the problem that I think earlier Sonic titles with hub worlds suffered, because they generally tended to be quite large, and you're just like, how the hell am I meant to know where to go?
Well, there were the hint markers and the like.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you should try using those every once in a while. But it wasn't really until 06 where it kind of like peaked, and the adventure hubs were just far too big for their own good.
Yeah, exactly.
You may be wondering why we're going straight to the HD version here. That's because the Wii version doesn't actually go to Missouri outside of a few text boxes and a boss fight. Mm-hmm. All of this stuff other than that is HD exclusive.
I wonder why. Like, Missouri wasn't really pushing Unleashed all that much. Even, like, the daytime stage is fairly short and not all that complex.
I'm wondering why it is. The only thing I can think of that might have been a resource hog is the fact that they had loads of video files. Because video files are huge, but, it seems a bizarre thing to cut out. I guess in the grand scheme of things, we don't really do much around the levels. The only plot important part is the boss fight, which they left in.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess we can start talking about our opinions on the day and night levels themselves. So, Richie, Missouri night, Savannah Citadel night. How did you feel about it?
I found it quite enjoyable for the most part. I mean, the flower enemies can get incredibly annoying because it's that whole thing of enemies that have projectiles when you don't have projectiles.
Yeah.
They can get slightly frustrating, especially when there's numerous ones of them, and especially if you're doing it not on a fully upgraded save file. They can be quite painful. But for the most part, it's just a nice, fun jaunt. There's a few puzzled, massive air quotation marks, it's literally just shoving a box on a lift and getting the levels on it right.
Yeah.
That can be slightly frustrating. Because you've got to be very, very, very precise in how you place the boxes and the lifts. But other than that, yeah, it's fine, it's quite fun.
What about you, Flo?
Oh, I like the general aesthetic. I think it looks like a nice place to run through, especially with the way the nighttime complements the general area. But I take issue with the block puzzles on the fact that I am not smart.
Well, they're not very complex puzzles, mate. Are you sure that's enough to make you take issue with the whole level?
I think you underestimate how dumb I am.
No, I think you underestimate how dumb I am, mate. Not really sure what kind of comeback that was meant to be, but I guess I'll give my opinion now. This one sticks out to me as just being very middle of the road. Whenever I get to Savannah Citadel Night, I'm just like, alright, I guess I'm doing this now. Just feels a bit by the numbers, I guess you could say. I much prefer the Windmill Isle Night stage, mostly because I don't know, it feels less oppressive.
Yes.
Like, you got the white brick buildings where everything here is just like, it's made out of sand and mud, hooray!
Well, also following on from that, a lot of Windmill Isle Night takes place in quite open areas. You're on the coast, you can see the sea, and you can see the sky quite often, whereas here you are going through buildings pretty much the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And it is very noticeable. I totally get what you mean there, and I do feel very much the same way. It's not as bad as certain later levels that we will come across. They can feel even more oppressive. But I'd say, yeah, this is the first one where you're just like, it's not quite as good, but can just about deal with it, I suppose.
You got it wrong, didn't you, Flame?
Yeah, I did get it wrong.
Oh, man, I think we've all made this mistake before. You got to get it just right.
Yeah, this was the take that I fucked up least in, so I decided just to roll with it.
Matt, isn't that like a real shit? You do really well on a recording, and then there's just one bit that kind of throws the whole thing out of whack. But you've got to use it, because either your game has autosave, or you just don't have enough time to do another take.
It's more the point of, like, when some of these levels are, like, 15 minutes long and you fuck up on one little thing near the end. And I just don't really like doing the thing of, crossfading halfway through a level, so it's like, oh, God, do it again.
Yeah.
I have to say, with respect to that, I've reached the point where I'm just like, I don't have time. If it looks okay, I will crossfade if needs be. Like, I've gotten lazy with that.
Yeah,
so.
I could disagree completely with you on that, but, to each their own with recording, I guess.
Well, yes, I mean, like, I totally agree. Doing a proper run-through without dying and not editing is much better. It looks a lot smoother and is a lot more impressive. But when you're short of time, needs must.
Indeed.
Yeah, I'll just cry myself to sleep later and no one has to worry about it.
Oh, don't we all, mate, don't we all. Now, I think this is the main puzzle room of the level. Yes, it is. Oh, man. Like, I wasn't really a fan of the two best friends play, or super best friends play, I should say, run of Sonic Unleashed, but man, I am jelly of Liam for using a particular exploit to get through this platforming sequence pretty quickly. He essentially used the Shori Hogken, which is an uppercut, to get right up there pretty quickly.
Yeah, I remember I'd recorded this particular run before seeing that and just thinking, I wish I'd thought of that.
Son of a bitch.
yeah, and what you notice there is that there's like a very slight step above from like the flat level there, so I was sort of clipping between it and it wasn't clocking onto me grabbing hold of the block even though I was pushing B. It's sometimes a little bit fiddly, but for the most part it holds up. You just have to sort of align yourself properly.
I'll remove this one onto here, pretty simple.
Like building stairs.
That goes down a bit. It's just simple block moving, platforming, puzzles. If you've played one platforming game, you've played pretty much all of them, really.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's just a case of, like, not doing it that little bit too hard where it's a bit above Sonic's jump peak, because that's when it just annoys me.
I gotta say, I like the flutes and whatnot in Savannah Citadel Knight's theme. That's 1+ against the level, then.
Yeah, it's one of these things like, I think off the top of my head I like all the Night themes. It's just like, I wish I got to hear more of them.
And not bow!
I mean, I think that is where Sonic Unleashed could have really done with going with a bit of more adaptive music.
Yeah.
Just because you could have then woven the night themes into a battle theme, and not only would that have made all of the fights feel less tedious because you would have had like exclusive battle themes per stage, it would have made everything feel a lot fresher because you wouldn't just be going and da 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 da.
Yeah, it would have been a lot more hype as well just to hear the regular music transition into a more upbeat, peppy version, you know?
Exactly.
So I would have went with the mindset of just, kill the battle theme, because you're getting so many battles it ends up like being most of what you hear. But like, if you take it like a kind of thing like when you boost in certain generations tracks and it just speeds up a little bit, just something like that, like up the tempo, put a bit more of a drum track in, something like that.
Yeah.
That would have worked really well.
Oh, best human NPC character right here.
This isn't the burger guy from SA1.
Shut up, you. Shut up.
Call this culinary concoction food.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Is it Mike Pollock who voices this guy?
The bread should be no less than 3/4.
Either him or Dan Green, I believe.
I think it's Dan Green.
Ah, okay. Very good.
Of black pepper. The contents fresh cucumber, sliced thinly, if you please.
Jesus. A lot of people harped on the game for having, like, a feeding fetish or something?
What the
Like, all
fuck?
the developers must have been starved, that's why there's so much food in the game. Let me lay a bit of psychology down on y'all. Food is a metaphor for a new experience, hence why they're travelling the world, and Chip is partaking of all these different foods. He's learning about the world.
Let me simplify that even more. You need food to live, otherwise you
Yep.
die.
Pretty much.
And to go back into the deeper side of things, it's also very culturally important because each country has very different cultural traditions when it comes to food. So further on to the Chip learning about the world, he is very much so learning about the world because he's learning about loads of different cultures through their food, which is something that actually quite a lot of people who travel do.
Jeez, man. Like, did they put that thing together with fucking Meccano? Like, don't build your saves out of Meccano, okay? It doesn't work out. Werehog comes along and just punches your shit in.
Fuck it, I'm here, sure won't let Lego.
Jesus.
Terrible sandwiches.
Want some chocolate, Professor?
Why, yes, I do believe I'll take the whole fucking bar!
At least don't grab it by the fucking chocolate. Jesus Christ, dude.
I
Get
know!
some fucking etiquette.
My fingerprints make the chocolate taste better.
Those ancient documents are known as the Gaia manuscripts.
Ah, Chip enjoys his tea. A chihuahua after my own heart, I suppose.
Thousands of years ago.
A disaster?
Ah, it's just as the stone manuscripts foretold. I think I'm getting my games mixed up here.
I think you are, yes.
Don't ask how the planet can even survive, like being broken up, like the ocean's not falling into the planet's core. People who were on the ocean, like, falling into the core. Just smile and go fast, that's all you gotta do.
Well, I mean, also you seem to forget the fact that continents have literally ripped apart. What about the people who are standing on the border of those continents? Like, just would they have ended up on one continent to the other? Or would the ground have just opened up beneath them and they would have been sucked into lava? Well, the molten core of the Earth.
You want to talk about a refugee crisis, try imagining like you're being on one continent at one point and then 2 minutes later you're on a completely different one.
I just like to imagine that like all the planet chunks flying into the air and it's just like every single country is experiencing the inter-battle entity.
Planet's power will restore the Chaos Emeralds, and in turn...
This is a cool plot point, like the Chaos Emeralds, usually the win button MacGuffin, are basically useless. right now. You know, no one can actually use them until they're all recharged and whatnot. I don't know how the planet does this naturally, but I've learned by now not to question how the Earth does things. It's a mysterious planet after all.
It's weirdly inconsistent that, like, the Chaos Emeralds last we saw them have that sort of grey tone to them, that when they were like that last time, Sonic could still use them against Perfect Chaos. So what's going on here?
Maybe they were drained of the positive and negative energies?
I guess.
Look, man, it's the best I've got, okay? I don't write the games.
Well, perhaps...
I should, yes. Perhaps I should write the games.
Well, using perhaps a little bit of extra logic, whatever Eggman did to Sonic whilst he was in supersonic form, perhaps that is what has caused the disruption to the Chaos Emeralds. When he fought Perfect Chaos, that sort of thing hadn't happened, whereas this is quite unique of a situation, or at least it feels like a unique situation because it hasn't properly happened before, but considering the way that the game is set up, it apparently isn't that unique because there's a whole bunch of temples set up for precisely this issue.
Well, the backstory that they sort of skim over in the manuals mentions something about it being like the Darkgar energy interacting with the Chaos Emeralds, and so that probably like neutralises something or whatever. That's kind of what forces the transition into the Werehog, and even just trying to summarise this, it sounds fanfiction, fanwanky, but like whatever, we can take it.
Yeah. Alright, let's head on over to Missouri, just where we were, in case you've forgotten. It's basically the Africa of the game, this entire continent.
Obviously.
Man, this cutscene looks good. This was, one of the shots of Eggman in a second were one of the first bits of media we saw of the game when it was leaked, and it also leaked the final boss, so that was fun. This right here, when he leans forward, wait for it, he's going to strike a pose. Not a JoJo tier one, but a pose nevertheless. Here it comes. Click. Take a picture. It was basically that.
That was a pose. That was holding his arms out. I'm underwhelmed. You lied to me.
Try to ignore the fact that the Missourians have American accents. You don't want to do.
Know.
You don't want to do your brain a trouble.
It's convenient how everyone speaks English here.
I mean, to be fair, I get why they did this, because, I mean, can you imagine if they'd had someone do a stereotypical African accent and
God.
stereotypical Chinese accent
Oh
and so on and so forth? That would not have ended well. So I think this is a relatively okay compromise for a cartoon hedgehog running across the world.
They probably could have had Tails' little like iPad thing just translate them, to be fair.
Oh,
but
they're speaking some kind of alien language. I can't understand them, Sonic.
what is this Chinese?
It's all Greek to me.
Nice, by the way. I was originally going to have a gimmick where I introduced like each part saying, welcome back guys, in like the respective language of the area we were in, but then I thought, fuck that, that's effort. I'll just do my usual praise to Hey Guys, the god of introducing commentaries. Man, I gotta say, Missouri, in the daytime at least, really shows off the power of the Hedgehog engine and the global illumination function, because it looks fucking gorgeous.
It does indeed.
Even just in that intro shot, you saw like the goldy sort of browny glow that Sonic had on him, and that is that in action. It just looks really beautiful.
Now this stage here, it's not one of the most complex, like I said, but it's one of the better looking, and it was also the stage that introduced the world to Sonic Unleashed.
Yes.
It didn't have the same music, but when like the first bits of the game were leaked, it was Savannah Citadel Day that showcased, Sonic Unleashed. I basically said the same thing like 5 times over there, please forgive me. But one thing that was different is that it had different music. Now they've kind of changed it so you can't tell it's a complete remix of the Sonic 1 Master System credits theme.
Well, yes, but it's a nice little reference, to be fair. I mean, I do always like it when there are musical references like that to things, because you just go, oh, I noticed that. What is that? And then it makes you feel really happy that you've got the reference.
What the fuck happened to my homing attack?
Yeah, I was gonna say, so I was momentarily stunned and trying to call over a rebuttal. But, yeah, RE references. I like that because Sonic 1 Master System was my first Sonic game, and pretty much my first game in general. If you don't want to count accidentally turning on the Master System without a game and booting up, like, the hard-coded Alex Kidd copy. Nothing? Are you too young to appreciate those references, Flamin' Richie?
Yes.
Well, my first game was Sonic 1 Mega Drive, so, you know, I was just that little bit more advanced than you.
My first game was either Pokemon Red or Pokemon Blue.
Oh. Working with a bunch of fucking kids. Anyway, let's talk about drifting. It works better in Generations. There, the end.
Yes.
It really does. Like, you notice here, they want you just to drift around all the corners here, but it's so much easier to just jump and boost.
Yeah, I mean, there's one of the bonus levels that you can unlock much later on that's in Missouri, and oh my god, like, they're expecting you to drift throughout the entire thing, and you're just like, no, because it's so unreliable. Well, it's unreliable because Sonic's really, really slippery when he is drifting, and you are playing that stage. It's a very, very tightly wound race course. And so if you drift too much, you will go flying off the edge. And that means you have to restart the entire thing all over again.
Yeah, pretty much. I forget, do you have to do that quick time event in order to finish the level?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, if you're not paying attention here, you just get stuck in a loop and you go through the same section over and over until you caught on to what's happened.
Oh, good lord. I think this was the tree that Rafiki lived in.
Well, I mean, after all, it is the circle of life.
Thank you, Richie. I thought I told you about singing.
Oh, it's fine. I haven't gone into na
Yeah, okay, that's enough of that, thank you.
Fucking Disney people.
I love Eggman surprising. Oh my god, how did you, a being that can break the sound barrier, make it here so quickly?
I mean, I also find it hilarious that when we first got to Missouri here, Eggman was just like, oh, I should have known you'd survived.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that, you know, we bumped into him in the air, like, not a part ago. It's just like, god damn it, Eggman.
Plot
Be consistent.
inconsistencies. Also, I think on the Egg Cauldron, he wasn't surprised to, like, see Sonic, or maybe he was. I don't know. At a certain point, the plot kind of goes higgledy-piggledy. But whatever, we ain't here to talk about plot. We're here to talk about a really, really low-res version of the Egg Beetle. Jesus Christ, I keep forgetting we're doing a combined playthrough of points.
Well, it's because most of this particular part has just been like HD exclusive stuff, so now we get 1 minute out of this 32-minute video that's the Wii version, and it's like, oh my god, what happened?
Man, boosting into this thing feels good. In fact, I'd go as far as to say boosting makes me feel good.
You do that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the dead silences that greet my puns, but you know what? Maybe I've deserved that silence.
No, all you need to do is just download a laugh track and just dub it in post. You'll be fine.
So, Tom, you could say that you're really feeling it.
Indeed, indeed, I am really feeling it. I'm trying to, like, differentiate, or at least, like, figure out if there's any differences between this version of the fight and the one in the HD version of the game. And apart from, like, lesser graphics, I'm not really seeing too many changes. These cube thingamabobs are sort of different, I suppose.
Yeah, they're just, like, they're paced differently. Like, he doesn't start off with the bombs in the HD one. Whereas here, it's like his go-to thing, and then he opens up and, yeah, boosts into him. But they are very similar fights. The HD one's faster paced, but you know.
That was a low-res ass explosion. Damn, man, you got S ranks throughout all of Missouri.
Oh, sorry, I didn't notice that.
Yeah? Well, I would. I'd never let you hear the end of it. And this version of the fight, basically the same thing, apart from missiles and spike balls and the like. The boosting thing still holds true. Let him open up his pincers and then go to town.
Yeah, you get an extra hit in this one before he sort of like uses his brain and backs off a bit. And that's why I'm just going to take this one down. I think I took the same amount of time, but because I'm running faster, it feels faster.
I mean, I suppose also because in this version of the battle, well, I'm not sure whether the other version can go quite so far, but this one has got multiple variance in how it can go after you reach a certain point, can't it?
Yeah, there's like even more missiles, so I think he's got them purple bomb things that are like rounded and he drops them. I usually nowadays just do this and you don't even see most of it, but
yeah. Nicely done, mate.
That was wonderfully smooth.
Same as ever, all bark and no bite.
I think that was roughly about the same amount of time. I mean, the clock was still going there, which wasn't really very fair, but, what are you going to do? No, I think you did that faster.
a second less, yeah.
Nicely done, mate.
Bravo.
No, I'm not going to clap.
I'll just let you keep on applauding me, I'll take what I can get this one.
Fair enough, mate, fair enough. Okay, now we've got to re-energise the first Chaos Emerald, I suppose.
Uh-huh.
We get like a little background music piece here, which is actually the only time we hear this in the HD one. In the Wii version, this song plays during the Gaia Gates, which are basically like tiny little hub pods that you use to go from like level to level, but you know, they're basically a small box room for all of them, other than some other little bits, you know, off to the side.
I'm guessing we're not showing those off then.
Nah, because they're just there.
Yeah, waste of my fucking time, really.
Yeah. We're saying that you can go on like little puzzle segments in some of them and get extra lives, because the Wii version, it caps off your lives at 2, but I have never bothered doing that because I don't think there's any levels in the Wii version where you're going to die twice.
Oh,
it's
right,
a very
yeah.
easy game by comparison.
That was the thing with the Wii version. People were upset about, like, getting lives and the like.
Well, I get being upset about the life caps in like Lost World and that, because that has some challenging levels, but like you're really not going to die that much in Unleashed.
Oh, just because you're, like, late at the game, mate.
Hey, I played it for the first time last year and like beating it all the way through for the first time last year, and I really didn't struggle with it.
Fair enough, mate. Oh, it makes sense for the first Emerald to be the one that is actually coloured like a proper Emerald, I suppose.
Then they throw that away with the other ones, so why name them Emeralds? But you know.
Well, you know, in another lesser dimension, they're known as the Anarchy Barrels.
That was bad and you know it.
No, I'm not kidding here. In the Archie, one of the Archie alternate
Jesus,
universe,
fuck.
they're called the Anarchy Barrels.
So the actual comic canon is on par with your shit jokes.
Pretty much, yeah. That's why it's on hiatus right now. Thanks, Ken Penders. Millions of people died. The end.
It's fine, because the world is being restored, one piece at a time.
Not fast enough, if you ask me.
One of the broken pieces of the planet moved back into place.
Yes, I know, Tails. We could literally feel it happening.
Well, yeah, but to be fair, that could have just been, oh my god, the piece of the planet is destroying itself and we're all gonna die.
Oh, we're leaving Earth's atmosphere. Goodbye. Goodbye. I guess that means we're pretty much done with Missouri, so please join us next time where the complete world adventure continues in Sonic Unleashed. Take it away, Jason Griffith.